The roads in Guwahati, India are apparently haunted. Just ask Avinash Kishore, aka the Mind Hunter. He pulls up behind a vehicle with an extreme background story that I'll get into in just a second. First, try to translate what he says about this truck, and then I'll tell you what I was able to research.
Guys, ঘুৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে ভূত বিচাৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে এইখন সন্মুখত কি গাড়ী দেখা পাইছে নে ৰব ভালকে দেখুৱাই দি আছো গাড়ীখন অলপ আগুৱাই দিয়া
Okay, so get this. I did some deep digging and found out that this truck is actually the only hearse service offered in the area. Before this company came to be, people used to carry the departed to the nearest graveyard. As an extra bonus, on this blog post, I found information on 3 extremely creepy but also saddening comments requesting the service as soon as possible. That means within this metal container could be someone passed away. So when he finds not 1, but 2 of these vehicles lined up in the middle of nowhere, he knows that something really bad must have happened, and he better not stick around for long. Unfortunately for him, the time to leave safely has already passed.
Stop.
The Mind Hunter's assistant gets scared and drives off, but the Mind Hunter will have none of it and makes him return. There is another brief sighting until the figure fades away into darkness. This alleged ghost sighting caught on video could simply be a 3rd member of the group, but since it happens not far from where they found the abandoned vehicles that could have had passed away people inside, it could be real. A YouTuber named Sonia Said is making a vlog about life in general when she decides to take a rest in the park on a nice Sunday. Big mistake.
I have some guy staring at me in front of me. He's been like holding the tree.
Notice how he lines himself perfectly out of her sight. He could come from behind and she wouldn't be able to see it coming.
What am I doing? You guys are about to see him right now. And I am gonna leave. What a weirdo. There he is. So weird. People are so creepy.
He is definitely facing her way when she decides that she's had enough.
And now we get up and go.
He's still facing her direction long after she goes, arms innocently behind his back like nothing's wrong.
So creepy. People are so creepy.
Now, if this stranger's behavior doesn't make you say bruh, I don't know what will. This footage was taken by an American tourist who was visiting Romania. He was just walking around a local zoo on his own, checking out the sights when he hears about a new attraction that is unlike any of the others. He is ushered into a dark farmhouse along with some other curious observers. Almost immediately, the tone of the video changes from skeptical to serious. It's hard to say exactly how, but something just feels wrong all of a sudden. You can hear the villagers talking among themselves, excitedly as they push past. Farm animals are making noises as the American makes his way deeper inside. This section is very dark now, and even though the Romanians are speaking in a different language, you can tell that people are sounding worried and concerned as they come closer and closer to the main attraction. Finally, the American tourist sees it for himself. Sitting across from them on a straw floor is what appears to be a white humanoid creature with black eyes and a wide gap for a mouth. It makes a series of tortured gurgling sounds and then charges towards its cage as the video quickly ends. It's hard to tell if this is a real creature or a man in a suit because the lighting is very dim. At the same time, Romania is a very rural country, and anything could be lurking in the woods. Maybe someone really did capture this thing and drag it back to society to be gawked at by paying crowds. If this thing is real, then the poor humanoid sounds like it's been severely mistreated and probably needs help. A YouTuber named Big and Blonde is checking on a Ouija board that he and his friend left in the woods not too long ago. Something chased them out of the woods the last time they used it, and now they are returning to properly end the ceremony. Not even broad daylight could keep their fears at bay as they come across the same spot as before. Something feels extra wrong about this section of the woods, and moments later they see exactly why.
Oh my god, run!
A figure dressed in black and white stomps down their way and sends them running. As they flee, the screams of what could be a girl's last moments on Earth fill the forest behind them. I guess this person could just simply be one of their friends, or it could be some kind of supernatural force conjured by the Ouija board. If it is the latter, then I could only imagine it will grow stronger with each passing day until the session is ended once and for all. This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switches all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by. So he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time, he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. Omar Vassell and his friend are having a very strange problem in the toy section of Target. I will let them explain everything in a moment, but let's just say one of the toys seems to be a little too active.
What is that? This toy does not go off, and this toy does not go off, but the center toy goes off. Off. My hand's over here. Bow. Toy goes off. Just watch. What is that? Like, please tell me what that is. America, please.
Maybe the batteries are depleted in all of the toys except for the one in the middle, but that still doesn't explain why it would go off when the other toys are touched. I feel like this video could have an obvious explanation that I'm not thinking of, so if you recognize these toys, or if you know anything about the toy manufacturing or design in general, then please let me know how this could possibly happen. You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies. Published by Adient in October of 2021, a man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Nang, sorry!
That's when he sees this.
Hey!
Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? A paranormal YouTube channel called Northwest Ghost Adventures claims his haunted attic has the most ghost activity out of anywhere in the UK. Here are two of the best examples of paranormal evidence. On February of 2018, the Northwest Ghost Adventures channel made a breakthrough EVP session with a possessed doll named Lily. 3 times in a row, the same male voice speaks through the spirit box.
Hi, spirits. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you tell me the name of this doll? My name's Lily.
I think it even starts talking backwards here, which is something I've never heard a spirit box even do before, and also possibly evidence of a demonic ghost EVP caught on camera. The ghost hunter administers some more paranormal experiments, and Lily, the possessed doll, passes them all.
Can you show us an orb, please? Thank you. Can you show me your orbs?
A month later, he claims to have been possessed while investigating. He spends the night in his haunted attic, and his eyes open when the spirit box says awake. He looks around in a trance-like state for some time. Notice how the ghost meter stays maxed out for over a full minute, beginning at 1 minute and 7 seconds, and continuing until the moment his head hits the pillow at 2 minutes and 26 seconds, at which point the lights go out entirely, as if the demon has left. Was I possessed, he later asks, and I think most of us will agree that yes, he was. This eerie video has me doing a double take, published by Spot You Like in April of 2008. This scary clip is filmed outside the stunning York Minster. The bells are ringing and the cameraman is taking it all in. He scans the cathedral and then starts walking toward it. A shot later, he is continuing on his way down a narrow shop lane. While the bells continue to sound, shops line either side of the street. But watch what happens in the upper window to the left. The cameraman zooms in on the ghostly pale face of a small child looking out the window. The child's eyes are dark and inky, and its face mask-like. As the camera zooms, the child disappears. The uploader notes that the house is called the Belfry and was built in the 17th century. Some in the comments claim to have stayed there and say that it has seriously spooky vibes. Is this the thing putting out those vibes? I'd say it's a pretty good chance. When Ibtisam and Kevin put a GoPro on their dog, they were never expecting to have so many scary moments caught on tape that they would later question if their house was really haunted. Here's their paranormal evidence. Okay, so at 1 minute and 35 seconds, the dog clearly hears some noises that we can't. Dogs have really good hearing though, so that's not really paranormal proof. The dog goes into the next room and appears to see something, though it's probably just a balloon in the corner that it doesn't recognize. Again, weird, but not necessarily paranormal. However, as soon as it turns around and lets its guard down, a loud, scary noise comes from where it was just looking. Nothing else happens for a while, and the dog gets some sleep. Upon waking up, the dog takes an interest in the living room again, this time investigating under the table, instead of in the corner, almost like it's tracking movement. It goes to look out the door. The window appears to be shut when all of a sudden, a creepy scream fills the house. And shortly after, it looks like the dog sees phantom movements across the living room, same as before. The dog is obviously stressed out and can't seem to stay in one place for long, and maybe it's just me, but at 16 minutes and 23 seconds, I definitely see an eerie figure caught on GoPro sitting with her back turned. The owners return home none the wiser, and if you look closely, it looks like the dog runs past them both, simply wanting to bolt out of the door and get away from the possibly haunted home. A man and a woman are enjoying a private plane ride, when suddenly their pilot slumps over and becomes unresponsive. Watch the trees and you'll see the plane is really sideways and they are really freaking out. It looks like she is going to take off her safety belt and jump when the pilot springs back to life and everyone starts laughing. Everyone but her. Do you think this joke went too far? I think there's a certain line between tasteful and terrifying that they may have crossed. And any prank where you fly with your eyes closed probably isn't the best idea. Humans aren't the only beings with the apparent ability to teleport. Published by The Buzz in January of 2015, this mysterious video appears to show a canine teleportation. The video, filmed during a street race on an empty motorway in Chile, shows a dog suddenly materializing out of nowhere. In the clip, two cars speed down the track. As the camera swings after them, following the race, a dog suddenly appears in their wake, crossing the road. In slow motion, the dog appears out of thin air in the middle of the road, somehow avoiding the two cars, neither of which budge at all in their straight shot down the track. Did this dog teleport here, as many in the comments seem to believe? Whether or not he did, I think Pog Squatch sums up our sentiment. Scotty needs to be more careful when he beams you down. That was too close for comfort. This YouTuber is exploring a cave in an undisclosed location when he sees something that freezes him in place. He steadies the camera and slowly zooms into the darkness. Staring back at him are two white eyes that are large and spaced far apart, signifying a large creature with a well-developed brow. The timing of his reaction seems very real and not staged. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I did think that this video was fake at first because the name of the channel is Pro Films, but then I realized it just means he was recording with a GoPro. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I'm just saying that if this was a fake channel, then there would probably be more videos similar to this one, but there's nothing else. This video will have you questioning how safe your food is if you live with roommates. Basically, a woman in South Carolina was caught on hidden camera, opening up the fridge and spraying select items with window cleaner. At first, it looks like she might simply be cleaning a dirty spot on the shelf, but when she takes a container out that still has food in it, gives a few good sprays, and then puts it back, it becomes clear that she is tampering with food. Since there is a hidden camera in the first place, I'm guessing she has been doing this for a long time, or at least long enough to make her roommate suspicious. She even almost notices the camera at approximately 1 minute into the video, but seems to shrug off the sensation of being watched. When faced with the evidence, she was put in a first offenders program and faced no time. Do you think this is fair based on the video, or should she have gotten a harsher punishment? Two friends are down in the basement when suddenly a third friend wants to join in. The only problem is, this playmate is not even human.
Hi, it's Huh? Hi, it's Barbie.
What the heck?
An old toy suddenly starts saying hello to them over and over. As soon as they get near, not only did it somehow turn on all by itself, but this is also apparently the first time it has ever been thought of in years. The batteries for this abandoned toy should have been drained long ago. The description for this video says that they have been regularly hearing loud banging noises in the basement, which is probably why they came downstairs in the first place. It's also extremely unnerving that, out of all of the possible sound effects, it chooses to keep saying hi over and over. Watch the left side of your screen for something creepy. A large figure is bouncing up and down at the side of the road trying to get their attention. What they see when they drive past leaves them creeped out for life. This screenshot taken at exactly 7 seconds shows a weird fish-like head turning one oversized eye towards the camera for a closer look. I was thinking this could be like a company mascot or something, but they aren't standing in front of a business and they aren't holding a sign. Has this car full of friends caught an authentic unknown creature sighting on camera like they claim? I wish they would have driven back around for another look, but I can understand them not wanting to risk it. A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose. But the doctor needs to run some tests first, so he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
Wow. The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up. Speaking slowly and still looking dazed, if you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. Gemma Mueller is Snapchatting when her filter detects the presence of a ghost standing directly in front of her. The incident is so brief that it would have been easy to miss if she had not circled the face for a better look. All of the times I've seen Snapchat misidentify a face was when it was somebody on a magazine or in a painting. I don't see how Snapchat could ever possibly detect a face in the flower pattern of her clothing, so I don't think this is a software mistake, though I guess that is possible. The face shows up a single time and never returns, further evidence that this was an actual spirit and not Snapchat acting up. Ghost hunter Simply Sarat has a profoundly paranormal experience while exploring a haunted house in India. He sets a wind-up toy on the ledge of a window as a way for a ghost to communicate its presence. They are kind of goofing around when suddenly things get very serious and very creepy. They think laughter is coming from the window, but then they hear more scary stuff from above. They run into the room with the wind-up toy, only to hear more noises following close behind. Running footsteps sends them rushing out of the house, and as they flee, the wind-up toy moves by itself. He holds it up to the camera to make sure the paranormal evidence is caught on tape. He has one hand on the camera and one hand holding the toy. There's no tie for him to have wound it up. And the wind-up toy somehow continues to move on its own as they run into the forest away from the abandoned haunted house that has scared them so terribly bad. This hunter captured the prey of his life while on an expedition. Published by Bigfoot's Testimony in January of 2022, the mysterious encounter occurred in a wooded area in Ohio. The footage shows a strange, grassy-looking creature creeping between the trees on a snowy fall day. The man says the creature's hair is gray or black.
His hair's gray and black. Is that gray? Is that snow?
Zooming in, the figure is barely discernible from its surroundings, like he's camouflaged. Most in the comments confirm that they've seen similar creatures in the forest. Tanner Urza writes, "These beings are very spiritual and in tune with nature." Others note that at some points it looks like a barely visible, partially invisible shadow. Is this the Grassman of Ohio? Or do we have another legendary creature on our hands? Either way, I think I'll be staying clear of that forest. Unless you're touring abandoned asylums or reputably haunted sites, you probably wouldn't expect to capture anything mysterious on camera, but this individual did just that. This video has been making the rounds all over the internet, and we tracked it down to its original source, published to YouTube in January of 2019. JJPD Producciones writes, Mr. Luis Reyes was traveling to Nicaragua for the first time. He went on a tour of tourist areas of the country, specifically to the Tizcapa viewpoint. He recorded the landscape, but did not expect to capture what you will see next. What you see looks like a giant crab insect or alien-like creature, maybe all three combined. The creature is standing on a rooftop, then it walks to the edge and jumps over to a courtyard, out of sight. While many congratulate the uploader on the special effects, some are willing to suspend their disbelief, but upon further investigation, it appears this channel specializes in special effects. So my explanation for this video is that, while it's quite scary, it's most likely CGI. When exploring the deepest depths of a mine shaft, the last thing you want to run into is the paranormal. Proving Demons claim their crew did just that. Publishing this video recently in May of 2019, the YouTube team writes, during a routine exploration of an abandoned mine shaft and railway tunnel, we saw something unbelievable as we turned a corner into a tunnel. The mine itself is creepy enough. You can hear water running and dripping. It's muddy, dark, and to put it simply, it's not a place you'd want to meet another being, passed away or alive. And about 17 minutes into the exploration video, it appears they do. A light can be seen in the dark distance.
What the is that? Is this a mine? Don't know. You guys, what the heck? Why is there a light down here? We can't walk through that. Is there noise there?
Why is there a light at the end of this mine shaft? Only the ghost holding its candle could answer that. The team doesn't stick around to find out, and who can blame them? The fact that a light was visible so deep in the mine gives me no other choice but to believe this is paranormal. At a once bustling market turned ghost town in China, this lone figure was captured on camera. Published by Paranormal Planet in February of 2020, the video shows a mysterious fog shadow moving into view. As Chinese lanterns hang all around, swaying with the wind, the figure moves across the walkway before it disappears from sight. The uploader writes, this footage was spotted by the person responsible for monitoring the street cameras. Is this a ghost? Or has the Grim Reaper come for us all? Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the somebody in there with you?
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. This mysterious capture by YouTuber Gillian Rocher leaves me with many questions. Rocher explains in the description that she saw this strange man outside her window marking a tree.
Nakita niya yung lalaki. Meron siyang pinapahid sa puno. Tago lang tayo onti. Meron Doberman. Ano yung ginagawa niya sa puno? Loko to.
The man can be seen doing something to the tree for a time before grabbing his dog's leash.
Anong plano mo? Anong inaano mo dyan sa puno, ha?
After the stranger left, the YouTuber went to investigate.
So yan. Ano yung ginawa niya kanina rito?
It looks like the guy scraped the bark from one side of the tree, leaving a mark, but for what purpose is still unclear. I'm not sure where this video is filmed, but YouTuber BioCyber suggests that the strange man is a Russian sleeper agent marking a target. This is where my head went to, although I wasn't specifically thinking Russian. This may be a spy or agent marking this site for himself or other agents to later find. What do you think is going on here? A YouTube channel called Sanders Fam has a bizarre sighting on their Tesla motion tracking equipment that they think is a paranormal ghost encounter. The dash icon displays a mysterious figure where none is to be found. Detecting invisible people is something their car has never done before, and is quite an odd coincidence considering they're passing through a cemetery at the time. It accurately detects two people a good distance away at 3 minutes and 39 seconds. It keeps happening on the same corner of the same block, the icon of someone riding a bike dashing away from them.
There it is.
They are getting creeped out and wonder what it is. That's when they realize around the corner is the final resting place of a YouTuber named Corey Lavery. They talk about him for a while, and then as they drive away,
There's nobody there.
Now he's walking that way.
Something walks by his grave. Now that is certainly a strange series of events. A YouTuber named JackCKXX is exploring an abandoned factory with some friends when they come across stairs leading to the upper levels. Something feels incredibly off about the place, but none of them want to look like the scared ones, so they all move deeper into the complex. They search around for a few minutes and don't find much besides an old picture. The factory has been abandoned for well over a decade, yet it feels like something is watching and following them at every turn. Finally, one of them has had enough and doesn't care about being brave anymore. He looks down a pitch black hallway and says,
"Oh, Jack, I think we should leave."
Now they are sure something is nearby and they start speaking in hushed whispers. It's hard to tell what they are saying, but it's clear that they are quite ready to get out of here. Meanwhile, whatever is watching them from the shadows is no longer worried about staying quiet and seems to be approaching fast. There's nothing left to do except find the nearest exit and get out, but everyone is too scared to think anymore and they remain frozen in place, listening in terror as footsteps draw near. Finally, something scares them into immediate action. They all run as fast as they can and quickly make it out of the factory in less than a minute. I have no idea what could make that noise, but I'm almost positive it wasn't human. A YouTuber named Piso Mojado records this zombie deer as it mindlessly spins around in circles at a public parking lot in the middle of the day. After a while, it briefly stops and has what could be considered a brief moment of clarity.
You alright there, little guy?
But then it falls over, gets up and resumes its frantic pacing. It runs in a half circle and heads towards the camera, but then it falls again and starts flailing wildly on the ground instead. The zombie deer seems dazed when it gets up a third time, like something has permanently changed in its mind. It calmly stumbles forward with a blank look in its eyes and drool falling from its mouth.
Yeah, he's foaming at the mouth.
Watching this video, it's hard to tell if this deer has CWD or rabies like the uploader claims. The two share many common symptoms such as drooling, disorientation, and aggression, so we may never know for sure. Either way, this man is lucky this deer decided to run away at the last moment instead of continuing its slow and steady charge in his direction. A popular YouTuber named Shark is brought to this allegedly haunted location after his friend had a ghost sighting here the last time he went exploring.
And this is Marco. This is the guy, you saw the ghost, right?
Yeah, but I saw it.
You actually saw a ghost?
A ghost, man.
You're not even kidding?
I'm dead serious.
Just kind of want to come here, see if we see anything paranormal, see if anything's going on, because right when he told me that, I was like, okay, we need to come here.
They are approaching an old historic house when a mysterious figure is caught on camera in the courtyard.
Push, dude, that's not moving.
No, it's moving. Oh, yeah. It's moving back. No, it's moving.
Zoom in on that. I'm zoomed in all the way.
It's like swaying back and forth.
They argue whether or not the mysterious figure is alive, and then the object moves, so it's presumably a person. If this was a maintenance worker or a security guard, then they would probably have a flashlight, and they would also probably ask what's going on, not stand in place being as creepy as possible without making a sound, and what happens next is creepy beyond all explanation.
No. Wait, yo, she's actually moving!
It moved. Bro, it's gone, bro.
The mysterious figure seemingly disappears on camera, although when played in slow motion, it kind of looks like they simply stepped backwards out of the light and into the darkness. Still creepy either way.
Literally right here was where it was. Dude, what?
There's nothing there.
Was that literally just a random girl or something?
I don't know what it was. It looked like
It kind of looked like it had long hair, so I think it may have been a girl.
A ghost girl, to be precise. I don't necessarily see long hair like he claims, but I'll take his word for it. And 1 minute later, they turn around to see the same shadowy figure now standing in the very place where they were at the beginning of this 3 a.m. video. I think this is probably a paranormal event and most likely a ghost sighting of a little girl like they claim. The ghostly shadow figure doesn't seem much taller than the railing that it's standing beside. And here's a scary moment you probably missed. Watch this window. At 4 minutes and 25 seconds, the light is on, and as soon as they see the figure, the light turns off by itself. It could be a timer, but it's a small detail that makes me think this is not planned and is, in fact, a paranormal event. This home security video shows 2 bright orbs hovering over some bikes in Carolina Beecher's front yard. She watches in silent amazement as the lights remain fixed in place, close to where you would grab the handlebars. The only explanation I have besides spirits is perhaps a dual reflection of the car's brake lights. That still doesn't explain how they float all around though, while the car lights remain stationary. At times the lights even seem to join together and become one. Most bad guys see a security camera and think twice, but Jason Chekhov thinks that this one was attracted to his house specifically because of it, which he can get some money for if he can manage to get away. There's no doubt that he stops and looks directly at the camera at 9 seconds into the video. It's such an abrupt and dramatic turn that some people think the whole thing is fake, and that this person whose face is fully covered is none other than Jason Chekhov himself trying to get some views. I would agree that this could be a possibility, if not for the lengths of which the person is willing to go through to get inside. First, they put one arm under the other and try to wedge it open with force. Then they just try to open it the good old-fashioned way and give the glass 3 solid elbows. Finally, they try to simply pinch and lift, painfully snapping back their fingernail from the sound of it. The point is, I really doubt Jason Chekhov would have risked messing up his windows or his fingers trying to break his way in, though I could be wrong. I stumbled across a scary elevator video from a Hindi-speaking YouTube channel. This video was the thumbnail image, and yet the video itself was missing on the list. That made me want to track down the original, and guess what? It's every bit as creepy as it looks. What looks like your average couple's argument goes way too far when he sees the door close at 8 seconds. The woman fearfully flinches, and this video is hard to watch because nobody deserves this and there's nowhere for her to go. By the time the elevator stops, her hands are tense and she is completely frazzled from the mistreatment. He goes to get her, but a stranger does the right thing and steps in between them. He immediately backs off and looks down in shame and embarrassment, but probably only for himself at getting caught. Anyone who does this is pretty messed up. I think this relationship is probably over. Anyway, this was originally posted by the Interval House in California, a place for women to get out of relationships like this one. I'm assuming this CCTV video is real, and it's something we really need to eliminate from society however we can. This paranormal investigator regularly observes the Savannah Theater. This is one of the first videos Redditor background ad 6785 captured there.
at how much it slows down.
Yeah.
That's so
And the shape
insane.
is just what threw me off.
Wait, show the...
Never seen that.
Do you see the thing flying around?
Look at how much it slows down.
That's so
And the shape
insane.
is
Why does it slow down so much? Some in the comments think it's dust or a moth. I do think both theories are likely, but I'd prefer to think there's something more mysterious happening at the Savannah Theater. When you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield, take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman, dressed in white, walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there. They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide." Uncharted Travel is the name of a ghost hunting YouTube channel who goes exploring an abandoned children's mental asylum at 3 a.m. with over 100 years of terrifying history involving cases of neglect and mistreatment. This derelict mental asylum is supposed to be one of the scariest and most haunted places in Baltimore. Almost immediately, the ghost hunters think they hear movement coming from upstairs, weird noises that I can just barely hear, kind of like children's footsteps.
They're upstairs. There's somebody walking the stairs.
The creepy sounds are followed by much scarier noises. They go exploring the second floor of the not-so-abandoned but almost certainly haunted children's mental asylum in search of the scary noises, and that's when their paranormal investigation uncovers a mysterious brick wall sectioning off a part of the asylum with a child-sized hole in it. It's a creepy moment for sure, and not exactly something you would expect to find at 3 a.m. And maybe it's just me, but this looks like it might be a hidden room with bars behind the brick wall. Across from a children's playroom with two creepy dolls is a holding room with weird drawings on the wall, and much higher up, two round holes, perhaps marking where a caretaker lost their temper. They go exploring the rest of the rooms and start to retrace their steps to see if they missed anything. And that's when one of the ghost hunters has a scary moment and comes running back to the group.
No. The door just opened by itself. No.
Which one?
That door just opened by itself.
I do believe this part, and I'll tell you why. It's because there's an apparition behind them that I bet you didn't even see. As he runs downstairs screaming about a ghost opening the door, a scary ghost face is in the window, eyes and all. It appears again at 28 minutes and 26 seconds, a stretched out ghost face in the window, or perhaps it's their flashlight shining into the dirty glass. I'm not sure which. All I know is a half a minute later, all remnants of this bizarre ghost face in the window are completely gone, so I think it could have been a paranormal ghost sighting after all. Also, when they go upstairs to test the door that the ghost allegedly opens, they get more paranormal evidence on their equipment.
Yeah, you're getting big readings over here, Dan. I wonder why.
The beeping of their equipment turns into a solid note when they get within close proximity to the door. Notice how this solid note of paranormal evidence happens again when he actually opens the door.
Dan, those dolls are in a completely different place from when we last saw them.
Coincidentally, this is the same door leading into the children's playroom, and unless the ghost hunters repositioned them, at least one of the two creepy dolls moved by itself since the last time they were in here. So yeah, don't go exploring this abandoned mental asylum at 3 a.m. because apparently you'll see some truly weird things. This video of a Mississippi swamp creature is hard to see, but the payoff is worth it. Watch the circled area and tell me if you see movement or not.
Baby!
Now here's the same area zoomed in. You can see something is behind the tree, a creature whose oversized arms extend down to the swamp. It straightens its back as it sees the camera and looks to the camera. It's hard to say if this really is a swamp creature or just shadows cast from the leaves above. This is allegedly the swamp creature's face. If it was just a bit closer, we'd have enough detail to make a final decision. That looks like it could be the face of a creature or just some tree bark to me. A girl named Jessie and her friend decide to try and summon spirits at a playground at 3 in the morning. The video starts off very lighthearted as Jessie plays on the monkey bars and her friend makes jokes, but soon things get much more serious. They've just barely started when they hear a strange noise and whip around.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
They shine their flashlights on the playground tubes, but don't see anything. The two friends sit back down and start again. It isn't long before they've made contact.
Is there anyone here that would like to contact us? Are you doing that?
No, are you?
No.
The spirit identifies itself only as D and refuses to say its real name at first, but then says that it is the infamous demon, Mama. Then it says that there are 3 of them, all watching. Now strange noises are happening all around them.
So your name's not Mama?
Oh my god! Didn't you hear that?
No. Mama.
Apparently, their idea of summoning harmless children at a playground is turning out to be more serious than they thought. Mama starts to recite the alphabet backwards and then starts to count down the numbers, which Jessie's friend says is a way for the demon to get out of the board. Before they get a chance to move the pointer over goodbye, Sammy drops to the ground. This is what the camera records.
Oh, holy shut the up. Jesse just got possessed.
Are you kidding?
You were laughing like really weird and...
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even remember, like, playing the Ouija board.
She wakes up with no recollection of what happened. Hopefully, if this video is real, the demon left her alone after that, though we'll never know for sure. It could still be inside of her, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself again. Is there a giant panda lurking nearby? Posted to the ghosts subreddit, Flower Sliders writes, took a walk on an abandoned road in rural Japan, saw this, not sure what to make of it. Local friend said he'd never seen anything like it before. The video shows a thick stalk of bamboo shaking dramatically, amongst other bamboo stalks.
Okay, that's weird, right? Why is it moving?
Yeah. Can we go? Why is it doing
You guys not
that?
see that down there?
What?
Right
Shut
there.
up. I'm not gonna look.
There's nothing.
Okay, why is it still moving?
The rest of the stalks are still, so what is causing this one to shake? Some in the comments think it's the Kadama, spirits in Japanese folklore that inhabit trees. Others think it could be an animal feasting on its roots or burrowing beneath the stalk. Spirits or not, it sure looks creepy. And to think before watching this video, a walk in rural Japan seems so peaceful to me.
Can we go? I'm legitimately running. I don't understand. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh, maybe there's something. Wait. Still, no, it's not. It's cut there, so they shouldn't be.
Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the devil's chair? I think he should leave before things escalate. This security guard wasn't expecting to guard the shopping mall against evil spirits. Published by the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in April of 2019, this security footage was captured at Galerías La Paz in Mexico. The Galerías has a dark history of animal and human sacrifices. It's reputed to be haunted by everything from spectral children to the lady in white. These security guards witnessed the latter. In the video, you can see the lady walking down the mall's corridor. A security guard passes right by her but doesn't seem to notice her at all. The lady appears solid but then vanishes into thin air. The uploader writes, he didn't notice anything unusual, but it was only when he finished his rounds and was back in the surveillance room that his partner asked if he had seen the woman in white. The security guard said that he passed no one. But when they watched the CCTV footage back, they couldn't deny it. Is it La Llorona? If so, this guard is lucky he didn't drown. Sometimes evil energy sticks around a place long after bad things have happened there. This is one of those cases. YouTuber Brittany Crab posted this video in June of 2014 writing, exploring a scary haunted bridge that is haunted by a boy named Douglas riding a bike and a creepy man. So scary. Brittany says in the video that she's in the woods near her house, looking for an old bridge near which a young boy had his life taken. According to Brittany, the boy was riding his bike and the man was standing near the bridge and offered him candy, but when the boy approached, the man took his life and shoved him in the pond beneath the bridge. People who visit this bridge feel a bad energy there, and they believe it's haunted by the boy Douglas. According to legend, you can hear the bicycle bell as he crosses the bridge. When she finally arrives at the bridge, she stands in the middle, feeling the creepy vibes everyone talks about, and as she's standing there, disturbed, the bicycle bell sounds. Fleeing the scene,
I think I just heard the bike.
She claims she just saw the man, and somehow she gets lost. She returns to the bridge, but the bicycle bell rings again, causing her to drop her camera. Someone picks up the camera in the end, but who? And apparently this bridge and the story really do exist. Several in the comments mention knowing hearing the story. One YouTuber, Golden M, writes, I heard about that bridge and my cousin lives close by it in the woods, and she went to explore it and she said she heard the bike and she also saw the man and kid. Would you dare visit this bridge? I certainly wouldn't. Sensitive sensor lights can sense stuff invisible to the human eye. At least this one can. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Spread the Words, the Redditor shares that strange things have been occurring in his grandmother's house. One of these strange things involve orbs that seem to trigger the hallway sensor lights. This happened on more than one occasion. The short clip does show an orb rising into view, and instantly the hallway light turns on. Is this a paranormal event or merely a coincidence? Believers in the paranormal commonly think orbs are light energy that is somehow linked to the spirit world. Skeptics believe they're just air particles, dust, water, or other types of photography backscatter. But how do you explain dust triggering a light sensor? While there are plenty of skeptics in the comments saying this orb is just dust, others are prone to think otherwise. How would dust turn on a light? A Narrowknot369 writes that he would assume it was dust if the motion light wasn't triggered by it, but every time the orb appears, the light turns on. Others observe that if the light sensor was sensitive enough to be triggered by dust, wouldn't the light always be on? Whose side are you on? This YouTuber works security at a building that's so haunted, he can't even get past to the elevator without scary stuff happening. It's gotten to the point where he records anywhere he goes because the place is seriously that haunted by paranormal poltergeist activity everywhere. The building has a nice gym room, for example, but it seems the equipment is always in use one way or another. Weird things are always caught on camera moving around on their own when he's out of arm's length.
Para darles una sorpresa a ver cuando vengan, que no saben que estoy aquí. ¡Hostias!
But it is perhaps this haunted playroom area that sees the most paranormal activity of all. So that's a lot of freaky stuff to have happened, but he's been making videos for years, and I've saved the absolute scariest video for last. You're not going to believe this one because it's that beyond creepy. He lives alone and hears the voices of a family coming from his room. When he calls into the darkness, he is answered by the shadow person sighting. The dark outline of a shadow moving in the small amounts of light coming through a crack in the door.
Hostia, la luz.
There's no doubt that somebody was in there with him, but was it planned, or was it a real ghost sighting caught on video? I think when you look at all of the paranormal video evidence caught on tape, you'll conclude that this place is really haunted. He could be faking it, but I don't really see how. Also, with barely any views on his videos, I don't see why he would continue for years on end unless it was really happening to him. We've all been warned never to pick up hitchhikers, but that advice especially goes for paranormal ones. This dash cam footage was posted in July of 2019. The dash cam's clock shows that the clip was taken around 2 in the morning. If you blink, you'll miss it, so pay careful attention. Driving down a dark and empty highway, the car is traveling at a fairly fast speed when, off to its right, in the empty lane, appears a figure. Some say it has its thumb out for a ride. Do you see it? Is it a ghost? Or is it just a regular person with a bad wish? After all, who hails a ride in the middle of the road during the darkness of night? Only someone who's looking to get run over, or at least doesn't mind testing fate, whether ghost or real boy. This isn't something you want to see while driving down a dark road at 2 a.m. It might very well send you into a terrified tailspin, making you the next ghost on the highway. Alberto Del Arco is a paranormal investigator based out of Mexico, another veteran of YouTube paranormal channels. He has been posting investigations since 2009 and has amassed over 2 million subscribers and nearly 256 million views. In his latest video, he and his team visited an abandoned school almost completely reclaimed by the surrounding woods. Encounters begin rather quickly upon their entry, as they hear the voice of a girl say "Aquí." This roughly translates to "in here." Could the spirit of a former student be leading them to her location? Chillingly enough, the apparition of a little girl briefly appeared in front of Arco as the ghost was speaking, then disappears as the flashlight is pointed at her. Could this be the same ghost who was speaking? The team walks into the room where the apparition appeared and finds several desks, shelves, and even old school books in poor condition. As they continue to search the room, another figure is seen moving silently past a window to Arco's left. It is hard to see on its own, but the crew thankfully enhanced the image in editing. The figure appears humanoid, albeit cloudy and disfigured. A minute later, Arco captures what appears to be an orb briefly appearing on camera, moving from right to left.
Un mapa antiguo. Wow.
As the team moves to another part of the building, faint laughs can be heard coming from the woods. They all hear it and pause.
Hey, soy algo atrás allá.
Considering they are in a wooded area, the possibility of some sort of wild animal cannot be forgotten, but considering all the activity they have gotten already, could this be a spirit laughing at them from the woods? The second possibility seems more likely when the team hears a man scream soon after.
Wait, ¿oyeron?
This time the sound is clear and resembles a grown man rather than an animal. It is also louder than the laugh, as if it is closer to their position as they are about to enter a bathroom. The team is startled back by a dog barking. While unseen, it is close to where they are. They walk around to see if they can find where the barks are coming from, but find no such luck. However, it is likely just a stray dog who has made the derelict building its home and is trying to protect themselves. Not wanting to go up against the dog, the team ventures away from the building and into the woods. They soon stumble upon a second structure. As they enter, more dogs still barking from inside, so they proceed with caution. Over the barks, Arco hears what sounds like a woman crying. This is terrifying for anyone who knows the legend of La Llorona from Mexican folklore. It is now Arco asking the crew to turn off their lights to look. Dog howls can be heard resembling the crying, but a distinct woman's cry can also be heard if listened closely. As the investigation comes to a close, Arco leaves a static night camera at the location overnight and captures an apparition floating in the room above some chairs and desks. Were all of these encounters related to one another, or did they happen to be lucky to find multiple different entities at once? Leo Streetsky claims to have been possessed by a demonic force during the making of these two videos. The majority of the first 20-minute video is simply him glaring at a camera with a demented, menacing expression while pacing from room to room. Often, he films out the window at nothing in particular, almost as if he is frantically searching for someone to give him further instructions. The few times he does speak, his voice is harsh and strained. During this part, I think he says something like "exit here now," followed by a maniacal laugh.
Exit here now.
Again, he returns to the window to look for something only he can see. It's hard to say if Leo is faking these videos or really thinks he is possessed. Both of these videos only have a handful of views and are very long, so I don't think he is doing this for attention. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring two mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time, Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CapeHateras_NPS, an unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthade, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through. Then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house head first into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. It's a shark, it's a duck, it's neither of those things at all. In September of 2017, YouTuber Jack Heath posted this video of an unidentified creature swimming in a river. He asks his audience to weigh in, saying his friends couldn't decide if it is a shark or a duck. The short clip shows a dark river at night, lights reflecting off the water. For a good 20 seconds, you can't see anything at all, although you can hear voices speculating on whether something unseen is a shark or a duck. That is, until this spooky ghost white creature nearly surfaces at the edge of the water.
It's a duck! I'm sorry.
Oh, look, stop squeezing it! That is exactly how it happens. Oh, here it comes.
Doesn't look like a shark or a duck at all. As YouTuber Tweedle notes in the comments, his friends are obviously talking about what caused the wake in the water earlier in the clip, not this unidentified monster that briefly appears up close towards the end. Is a plesiosaurus or something like that, he writes. Though they're originally from a time period of many millions of years ago, so are alligators. They're thought to be extinct, but maybe they're not. After all, they wouldn't be the first creature thought to be extinct that's found to be still alive. While this might seem like a good guess, the OP mentions in the comments that the ghastly creature was just an eerily convincing art installation. Whoever thought art could make your heart stop? Ring doorbells seem to capture more than you were bargaining for. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Yakuza Disco Man. This Redditor is wondering if what he's caught on his Ring doorbell is paranormal. The security camera shows a wide shot of a street outside his home with several parked cars along it. Nothing unusual, that is, until this ghostly figure streams past in the darkness. The semi-transparent phantom appears like he's trailing fog. Is this a spirit on a nighttime stroll? Redditor Noob Vin reigns on our ghost hunting parade, writing, "This is a camera glitch due to low lighting, and the way the Ring camera saves space with video and images, it's looking for pixel changes, and with low light, it is only detecting a fraction of the actual image, which makes the image appear transparent," noting that it's not really a glitch per se, but rather the design of the camera in order to reduce high bandwidth. Noob Vin is pretty sure it's not a ghost. Others suggested that the Redditor reenact the event under these same conditions to see if he can replicate this. Let's hope he does. Better safe than sorry. Nevertheless, I genuinely think this footage is creepy. When you've got a place called the Dungeon in a state lockup, you're bound to run into some chills down your spine. It was taken on a ghost tour of the Missouri State Penitentiary in 2017. The first shot in the video reads, "Picture taken of the showers minutes before entering the dungeon. Notice the light at the top is clearly off. Let's take a look." Folks in the video appear to be trying to contact spirits within the building, asking if they exist. According to the video, they've received responses, although it's hard to detect the hisses, moans, and spoken word responses in the clip's audio. The video also claims that the light at the top before entering the dungeon was off, while the light turned on after leaving the dungeon. Curious, or did someone just hit the switch? Whatever the case, the paranormal seemed to be at large in Missouri State. It's probably time to plan a prison break. Terrence lives here, but I'm not going to reveal him, at least not yet. Take a look at his enclosure and give me your best guess as to what kind of pet Terrence is. There's a green structure for shelter and a piece of banana, so maybe Terrence is some kind of fruit-eating lizard, right? Well, there's no heat rock, so if a lizard was your guess, It was a good one, but no. Likewise, Terrence the tarantula has a nice ring to it, but the bandana is not spider food, so that's a no-go as well. Okay, I'll tell you. Terrence is the giant, hissing cockroach of your nightmares. This creepy pet spans across all 4 fingers, and its backside still hangs over the end. Someone please tell me this roach is as big as it gets, because I can't imagine a larger one, or why someone would actually own this as a pet. Could you ever see yourself getting attached to Terrence? Because Terrence will gladly attach itself to you. When this small plane's propeller stopped moving, it was forced to emergency land. We're now experiencing engine failure, says the man videotaping the event. If there's a place to land, we shall be okay. He speaks rather calmly considering their propeller froze mid-air. The sky around the hilly region appears murky, and there's clearly some strong wind tearing at the aircraft. Find a flat ground so that rescue vehicles can come in, the man says. He places all responsibility on the pilot, telling him it all relies on your experience now. The pair find a piece of land in the water to force landing upon, and again he emphasizes how they're all relying on the captain. The plane quickly descends and hits the ground with a thud. They strike a rock, but the pair lives. When they rather calmly land, the man videoing the incident thanks the captain for saving his life. The captain says he told someone this plane wasn't good to go. A YouTuber named D-Edge detects strange activity in his hallway after leaving his PS4 camera on record. This small figure appears no less than 2 times, despite the apartment being empty, at least according to the uploader. 20 seconds later, the figure makes its second entrance, hanging around the top of the doorway each time before disappearing into the darkness. I was thinking that maybe this was light coming from the window across the room, but the angle doesn't exactly match up. Something is definitely there, but let me know what you think it could be. What should you do when the Ouija board answers you? Published to the r/ghosts subreddit, Nepa Smash asks viewers their thoughts on this scary video, which was filmed during a Ouija board session in a haunted room of their home. In the clip, the group asks if any spirits would like to communicate. After a moment, there is an alarming bang off screen.
Are there any spirits that would like to communicate with us?
2 of the boys look up. Right before the bang, however, another mysterious action unfolds, but it's hard to see if you don't know it's there. A paintbrush is thrown across the room. Although it's difficult to tell in the video, this Imgur photo shows the incident in more detail. Many in the thread think a non-supernatural explanation might be that the guy laying on the floor off to the right could have played a trick on the others somehow, but some note that he doesn't even seem to react. As for the knock, well, the combination of the knock and the projectile does seem uncanny. Setting the rest aside, Redditor Eekecum draws the right conclusion. Please tell me you closed out of the Ouija board after that. Who knows what might have happened if they didn't? Sometimes you can just sense evil in places, sometimes in your very own home. Posted in the very spooky video subreddit by Big Daddy Marco, the Redditor writes that he is quarantined in a haunted house. Originally published to YouTube by Donnie Drunkard, he writes, since being in quarantine, the paranormal and haunted activity has manifested in poltergeist activity on an almost daily basis. I believe the entity is demonic in nature. Terry explains that this is an update and recap of footage caught on his live stream. He also says that he thinks there's more than one spirit in his home. Using a paranormal tool that captures movement, the recap shows that something is indeed present in the hallway, and its presence is made known on more than one occasion. The kinetic image appears. In the last clip, he tells the thing to leave, and after a moment it does as he commands.
Trespass against us. I'm shaking so bad right now, man.
It disappears from the monitor. Some in the comments suggest that Terry get a demonologist into his home to take this thing on. What would you do if you sensed, heard, and saw a demonic spirit in your home? Would you stay or would you go? Even ghosts are trying to go to college. Published to YouTube by Philip Potgieter in March of 2016, this freaky school video was captured at Helpmaker College in Johannesburg, South Africa. The footage shows a phantom figure gliding down the hallway at around 11 at night. It edges towards a wall and merges into what we can assume is a classroom to the right. The figure disappears without further explanation. Is this ghost just heading to its next night class, or does it need help from Helpmaker to cross into the beyond? Would you be able to put up with this unfathomable poltergeist activity? YouTuber Sylvia C has long battled an angry energy wreaking havoc on her home. She experienced yet another encounter in May of this year.
What's happening again, guys? Lit.
What unresolved issues does this poltergeist have? He seems to often take it out on the kitchen.
Guys.
Commenter Enki2 has some advice for Sylvia in the comments. He writes, "Ghosts are like trolls. Don't feed them attention, respect, or most of all, fear." But I gotta say, with paranormal happenings like this happening around your home, it'd be pretty hard to ignore it. This clip was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit and was originally uploaded to YouTube by Hunting the Unknown. As the team investigates the haunted insane asylum, they hear something.
They can give us a sign.
While they indicate it's a knock, it sounds like a loud grunt to me. Later, as they continue walking, footsteps are heard beside them or nearby that seem out of place with their own. Next, they hear something off screen. As they continue on, one viewer claims to see a figure in the window at this point. Look up and to the right.
Taking some more investigation.
While I do see the shadow, I think it's just the wall jutting out, although it does look a bit like a figure. I think this shadow can be explained, but the subtle footsteps and other noises are harder to pinpoint. This place definitely gives me the creeps. It was May 17th, 1995. What San Diego was about to witness would be one for the record books. Sean Nelson thought he'd go for a joyride that day in an M60 tank. He broke into the National Guard Armory, rambled behind the wheel, and headed down Mesa College Drive into neighborhoods, crushing cars, busting open fire hydrants, and eventually leading police cruisers on a low-speed chase down Route 163. The crazy rampage lasted 23 minutes, all caught by TV news crews and police helicopters. The episode lasted until police subdued Nelson and he was lifted out of the tank. Although there are many questions to be asked about this event, the big question is why? Why did he do it? Nelson had enlisted in the army after high school and served in West Germany in a tank battalion. His service record includes disciplinary problems and led to his honorable discharge in 1980. When he got home, he had a nice enough life for half a decade, got married, bought a home, made a decent living as a plumber, but then his parents passed away within 4 years of each other, and he couldn't cope with what happened. His wife filed for divorce. 5 years later, his life was in shambles. He had no money, his tools had been taken, his girlfriend left him, His house was in foreclosure. This is when Nelson went off the deep end. Literally, he started digging a hole 17 feet deep in his backyard. He told his friends that there was gold down there. Nelson's breaking point made for a frightening reality on this day in 1995. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.